The gaming headset market is worth $4 billion. $4 billion spent on products wrapped in RGB lighting, marketed with terms like 7.1 surround sound and studio-grade audio and immersive soundscape technology, language invented by marketing departments, not audio engineers. Here is what those audio engineers actually use when they sit down to build the sound you hear in the games those headsets are supposed to play back. Not a Razer headset, not a SteelSeries, not an Astro, not a HyperX, a pair of Sony MDR7506 studio monitor headphones. Made in Japan, designed in 1991, selling today for under $100 with virtually no changes to the original engineering because nothing about the original engineering needed to change. The people who build game audio know exactly what accurate sound reproduction requires. They use Japanese studio monitors to create it. Then the industry sells you something else to hear it and charges you twice as much for the privilege. That is not a coincidence. That is the gaming headset business model. Gaming headsets did not exist as a product category before the mid-2000s. Before that, gamers used whatever headphones they owned, or computer speakers, or nothing. The audio was an afterthought. Then online multiplayer arrived at scale. Voice communication became essential. Headphones with microphones, headsets, became a genuine need for anyone playing competitively. The gaming peripheral industry, which had already built profitable businesses around mice, keyboards, and controllers, recognized an opportunity. What they built was not an audio product. It was a gaming product with audio attached. The distinction matters. An audio product is designed from the driver outward. The acoustic performance of the transducer is the primary engineering constraint, and everything else is built around it. A gaming product is designed from the brand inward. The aesthetic, the LED lighting, the software ecosystem, the sponsored streamer, and the marketing are the primary investment, and the audio is engineered to a cost target that supports the desired margin. Razer, the dominant gaming peripheral brand, spends more on its Chroma RGB lighting ecosystem and software platform than most audio companies spend on acoustic research. SteelSeries built its brand through esports sponsorships before it had a driver worth sponsoring. HyperX, owned by HP, is primarily a memory manufacturer that entered the headset market because the margins were attractive. None of these companies have a background in acoustic engineering. None of them have a research division studying how the human ear processes directional audio information. None of them have produced a measurement that a professional audio engineer would recognize as meaningful. Japan did all three of those things 40 years ago, and the products that research produced are still the ones sitting on the workstations of the people making the games you play. In 1991, Sony released the MDR7506. It was not designed for gaming. It was not designed for consumers at all. It was designed for broadcast engineers, recording studio professionals, and film and television post-production facilities that needed a headphone they could trust completely to accurately reproduce audio across the full frequency range without coloration, distortion, or enhancement. The MDR7506 uses a 40mm neodymium driver, a large format driver for a closed-back headphone, tuned to a frequency response that prioritizes accuracy over impression. It is not a flattering headphone. It does not make music sound warmer or more exciting than it is. It reproduces exactly what is in the signal, including the flaws, which is why recording engineers use it to catch problems in a mix that a colored headphone would hide. It folds flat for transport. It has a coiled cable that extends to 3 meters. It weighs 230 grams. It has been in continuous production for 33 years because no manufacturer has produced a closed-back studio monitor at its price point that outperforms it in professional applications. Game audio engineers use it on their workstations. Film sound designers use it in post-production. Broadcast engineers use it in live television trucks. Radio producers use it in studio control rooms. The MDR7506 is present in virtually every professional audio environment on Earth. Audio-Technica's ATHM50X, released in its original form in the 1980s and refined continuously since, is the second most common professional monitor headphone in game audio production. Also Japanese. Also wired. Also under $200. Also used by the people whose job is to make games sound exactly the way the creative director intended. Beyond studio monitors, Japan also pioneered the acoustic science underlying the feature the gaming headset industry sells most aggressively: surround sound. NHK, Japan's national public broadcaster, developed the research foundations of spatial audio and binaural processing in the 1970s and 1980s. The science of how the human auditory system perceives directional information, elevation, distance, the difference between a sound in front of you and a sound behind you, was documented and published by Japanese researchers before the personal computer gaming market existed. That science has a name: Head-Related Transfer Function, or HRTF. It is the acoustic fingerprint of how sound interacts with the shape of your head and ears before it reaches your eardrums. Accurate spatial audio reproduction requires measuring or modeling HRTF accurately and applying it to the audio signal in real time. Japan understood this. Japan published the research, and the gaming headset industry took the term surround sound, attached it to a product with 2 drivers and a software equalizer, and sold it to 40 million gamers as if it were the same thing. It is not the same thing. Every major gaming headset brand markets a version of surround sound. The terminology varies: 7.1 Virtual Surround, DTS, Headphone X, Windows Sonic, Dolby Atmos for headphones. But the underlying claim is consistent. This headset will make you hear where enemies are coming from. Here is what is actually happening inside that headset. A standard gaming headset has 2 drivers, one in the left ear cup, one in the right ear cup. This is stereo. Stereo has existed since the 1950s and requires no special processing to deliver left-right directional information. Virtual 7.1 surround sound is a digital signal processing layer applied to the stereo output of those 2 drivers. It takes a multi-channel audio signal, the game's actual positional audio, and runs it through an algorithm that attempts to simulate the acoustic cues your brain uses to perceive direction. The algorithm creates the impression of sounds arriving from above, below, in front, and behind, using only 2 physical drivers. This is not 7.1 surround sound. It is a stereo simulation of 7.1 surround sound. The distinction matters because the simulation is only as good as the HRTF model the algorithm uses. And most gaming headset manufacturers use a generic HRTF that is not matched to any individual user's head geometry. The result is a processing effect that some users find immersive and others find disorienting or fatiguing because the spatial cues the algorithm is generating do not match the spatial cues their actual ears expect to receive. Research published in the Journal of the Audio Engineering Society has shown that a well-implemented stereo headphone, used with a game engine that applies proper positional audio internally, outperforms virtual surround processing for directional accuracy in the majority of users tested. The games themselves already handle positional audio. The Unreal Engine and Unity both implement spatial audio at the engine level. What the game sends to the headset is already directionally encoded. Virtual surround processing on the headset is processing audio that has already been processed, and in many cases, degrading the directionality the game engine carefully implemented. The Razer Blackshark 5 2 Pro sells for $180. It has THX spatial audio processing, a detachable microphone, wireless connectivity, and RGB lighting. Its driver frequency response, measured independently by enthusiast reviewers, shows significant peaks and dips that color the audio away from neutral, making footsteps louder relative to music, boosting high frequencies to create a perceived clarity that game audio engineers did not put in the source material. The Sony MDR7506 sells for $98. It has no RGB, no wireless, no spatial audio processing, no software. It has a driver that reproduces the audio the game engineers recorded with an accuracy the Razer cannot match at any setting because the Razer was not tuned for accuracy. It was tuned for the impression of accuracy on a demo unit in a Best Buy. The people who made the game used the Sony. The industry sold you the Razer. The competitive gaming community has been running this experiment in public for 15 years, and the results are consistent. Professional esports players, the people for whom audio directionality is a competitive variable that directly affects their income, do not use gaming headsets. The overwhelming majority of professional Counter-Strike, Valorant, and Apex Legends players use audiophile-grade wired IEMs, or professional monitor headphones connected to dedicated DAC and amplifier hardware. The most common setup among professional FPS players is a wired IEM, frequently the Etymotic ER4 series or the Moondrop Aria, both engineered using Japanese acoustic research principles, connected to a portable DAC, no RGB, no virtual surround, no wireless, no software ecosystem, a cable, a driver, and an amplifier that does not color the signal. The reasoning is straightforward. In a competitive environment where hearing a footstep 2 rooms away is the difference between winning and losing a round, accuracy is not a preference. It is a performance requirement. And accuracy consistently comes from Japanese-engineered wired audio equipment, not from gaming peripheral brands. Oratory 1990, a professional acoustic engineer and one of the most widely cited headphone measurement researchers in the community, has published EQ profiles for hundreds of headphones targeting the Harman research curve, the scientifically derived frequency response that produces the highest listener preference scores in controlled testing. Gaming headsets appear in his database as among the least accurate headphones measured. Studio monitors from Sony, Audio-Technica, and Biodynamic appear among the most accurate. The data is public. The professional players have voted with their ears. Japan built the product they chose. Here is what Japan's studio monitor engineering offers a gamer in 2026. The Sony MDR7506 at $98 is your starting point. Pair it with a ModMic Uni, a clip-on microphone that attaches to any headphone, for $30, and your total investment is $128. Your audio accuracy will exceed any gaming headset under $250. Your microphone quality will match or exceed the boom mics shipped with headsets at the same price tier. The Audio-Technica ATH-M50X at $150 is the upgrade path. Slightly more comfortable for long sessions, with a detachable cable and a more refined low-frequency response for music listening alongside gaming. If you want spatial audio without the gaming headset markup, Dolby Atmos for headphones on PC, and console delivers HRTF processing through any headphone for a one-time software purchase. It runs on the MDR7506. It performs better on an accurate driver than it does on a colored gaming headset driver, because accurate spatial cues require an accurate foundation to build on. Japan built the foundation. The $4 billion gaming headset industry built something that looks better in an RGB photograph. If this is the first time anyone has told you what professional players actually use, subscribe and hit the bell. New case file every week, and we are just getting started on what the gaming industry has been hiding inside a box of RGB lights. The gaming headset is the consumer electronics scam with a power cable and LED lighting. It exists because gaming became a multi-billion-dollar consumer market faster than audio engineering culture could follow it. A generation of players who had never compared a studio monitor to a gaming headset were handed a product with impressive packaging, an esports sponsor, and a software platform, and told this was what serious audio sounded like. The people who make the games these headsets are supposed to play never used them. They used Sony, they used Audio-Technica, they used the Japanese studio monitor engineering that has been the professional audio standard since before most gamers were born. That standard is available to you right now for under $100. It requires no software, it does not need a driver update, it does not have a companion app or a lighting zone or a Discord integration. It has a driver that reproduces sound accurately. Japan guaranteed it in 1991. 33 years of professional audio production have confirmed it. The $4 billion industry, hoping you never find this out, has a lot of RGB lights to sell you.